St Germans. I'm Peregrine Nicholas Elliot, 10th Earl of St Germans, and I live at Port Elliot in Cornwall.
Hello, my name is Jenny Putt, and I came to St Germans in 1960.
Hello, I'm Molly Bond. I live at Western Cottage, St Germans.
I'm Barbara Warren. I live at 5 Wells Court, West Street, Millbrook. And I lived in Pulbathick for 78 years in the same house.
Dennis Lang.
John Marshall.
Bobby Smith.
You only get after time. It's a feeling of peacefulness. I feel very peaceful here. That's not always been the way with the places I've lived in the past.
There was a butler here, and he said to me once, "I saw strangers in the village, my lord, today," which were just sort of, because there were very, very few tourists in the 50s and 60s, very just discerning people coming to the church. I saw strangers in the village today. He'd never left the village.
Well, back then, people came to you. There was people who used to come delivering to you. You know, we had the butcher used to come, and the baker used to come to you, and the groceries, Co-op, and there was 2 other vans used to come in the village. So, I mean, you know, you could go in the shop, but also they came to you. We didn't have to go to the supermarket.
Well, there used to be, my father would bring cattle in, and they'd have it in the village square. And they'd have it on the 4th Thursday in May. Always on the 4th Thursday in May. And I can remember that they'd said, my mother used to say, you could put on a summer dress at the end of May. You don't put on a summer dress until it's May Fair. And I can remember making a snowman on our lawn. We had quite a big lawn on the farm. Making the snowman and coming in and saying to my mother, where's my summer dress? And my mother said, don't be ridiculous, you've just made a snowman. And I said, yes, but it's the May Fair day. But whether I wore a summer dress or no, I have no idea. But I've always remembered making this snowman, a big snowman on the lawn, and then coming in and wanted to put on a summer dress because it was May Fair day.
I had to walk down to Pulbath at first to get milk and take it back to Mummy and then walk to school.
Monty he was called. Monty, Sir Monty, that's right.
Well, really, the shops in the village have disappeared. There was a vegetable shop and an ironmonger's shop, but it was a real ironmonger's, not like the one that's recently closed. This one had, you'd find 3 different kinds of barbed wire and 11 different kinds of hinges, every kind of nail, etc., etc., etc. Mr. Hauser was his name, and it was a wonderful, wonderful institution. Houses, people came from a mile around. And there was a vegetable shop down from the pub on the right-hand side. St Germans.
Start down the bottom. There was the blacksmith shop, you know, that's, you know, where that,
That's the old smithy, yes, right?
That's right. Then there was
one,
Bertie Peters up the hill beyond the almshouses, up on the left-hand side. That house there, that was like a grocery place.
Fruit and veg.
Then you came down to Mrs. Moyes. She used to keep the grocery shop. That was down the bottom of the hill, which is ordinary now. Over at Newport,
Boot and shoes.
about 20 yard over, that was boot shop. Then you came up
Up the hill.
opposite the pub. There was the
Draper shop.
draper shop, or no, down the hill
down
from
the
the
hill.
pub, halfway down. Across the road from the pub, there was another grocer's shop. Then you had the shop that's just shut. You know, that was ironmongers. Then you had the Brays, the butchers. You where Dennis Lang lives now.
Yes.
So Brays were in the village. They had a shop in the village.
Yeah,
Gosh,
yeah. Not the Brays is out Tarford
Not the
now.
Braziers out
no
there.
relation.
No. Then there was nothing until you come up to the old post office, and that's the one that's elevated opposite the church.
Which maddeningly, it had a bow window, and I notice now that there's not a bow window. I think the planners had something to do with that, which is a pity. And there was a blacksmith, Willie French, up by the pipe store where, just as you enter onto the estate property.
The workmen went to pubs in my day. My father wouldn't dream to go into a pub. That's where the workmen went. Pubs have gone up market, haven't they?
They used to have a function now and again. Every wet Monday they had a big, fair, not a fair exactly, but a day out for everybody could go in there and have tea and things like that. They did open up the estate like that, yes.
My earliest recollections of living in St Germans are the cup of tea offered the first day I moved in by my good neighbour Bridget, who's become a very good friend, and the warmth and hospitality of her and her husband. That's my earliest memories of St Germans.
But Mr. Hauser used to have his van, and he used to go all around Hessingford, Seaton, down Derry, up to Craft Hole, delivering and selling paraffin. Because that was one of the big things for heating.
There was a Mr. Bray at St Germans who lived opposite where Dennis Lang lives now, and he used to be our milkman, come every morning about 7:30. Yes, he was our milkman, and then there was a butcher shop, as I said, at the end of the Mr. Bursey. He had a butcher shop there for years, and they used to kill the cattle there. There's a slaughterhouse there as well. They used to kill the cattle there. But people gradually got old and gave up, and things got difficult because it wasn't easy after the war, really. It's a difficult life, it's after that.
When we went to bed Christmas Eve, Mum would always do the tree and put the decorations up Christmas Eve. And when we came down Christmas morning, that would all be there.
We walked to school every day, the mile, and when I was old enough to have a bike, I used to come back to Bulbathic to lunch every day and go back again, but walked to school all my life.
Well, I was a pupil of St Germans in Dowd School at the time. We used to have time off just to spend Mayfair. We used to help with the cattle, and some had stalls, and it was a very nice break from school. And it was a very good day for St Germans in general.
There's a place at St Germans called Penmadown, and that was bombed in the war. They had sort of evacuee children there, and I used to go in there in that time and help cook and do the vegetables for their meals. But yeah, that was bombed through the war. That's as you got towards the cricket field, there's a couple of lodges on the side. That was opposite there, Penmadown. That was bombed.
They were crying, really, he and his mate, Jack Barron. There was 8 bullocks tied up in there. And it was all incendiaries. They pick up the place, you know. It was, well, out Port Elliot House, I don't know, because where I used to live over Railway Terrace there, you could look right down on Port. And it was like fairyland, all these things hanging up in the trees. God, millions there must have been, all the way up through all the wood. And then they said about this cow shed. But they couldn't let them out. They was burnt to death, these 8 bullocks, because they were chained. They had them chained, see? Yeah. Poor devils, they couldn't. Well, they couldn't, they had to get out themselves or else they'd have been gone. But, and at the same night, the house, the ruins further up there, Penmadown, that, there was 26 evacuees in there, and none of them was injured, but what happened there, one of these things had rolled down behind the chimney, melted the lead, caught the house afire from the top. Well, that house couldn't have been very old, because a chap that I learned, well, I mean, he was a man. I was just a boy, 14, learning my trade. He said his father helped build that place, helped build Penmadown, because he was saying, I wonder if they found the bottle yet. Because they used to put coins of the time and whatnot, notes in the bottle and build it in the wall, see? But never found out.
I can remember going to Port Elliot, because we never went there. You see, you never went to Port Elliot. And we were invited there for the WI to do carol singing. And this was a big thing. We're going to Port Elliot. And to go in, they opened that lovely big door and we walked in the hall and stood there and did carols. Something out of this now, you know, I mean, everybody takes it for go now, but years ago you never went to Port Elliot.
But the thing about villages, I expect you found it now, is years ago you knew everybody, you trusted everybody, you left your windows and your doors open and nothing wouldn't happen. But it's a different day now, isn't it? Different day now. Everybody knew everybody else and we all got on well together. You all helped each other out and life was easy, really.
I'm fearful about the creeping holidayisation, to invent a a awkward word, of villages like St Germans.
I don't know where we're going, not really. Unfortunately, and I'm not getting at people that move into the place, but people that move in, they're not interested in local life. As children, we were all born there and we all pulled together, but now there's a lot of different people from different parts of the country which come in, Pobathic for instance, but they aren't interested in local, so they'll never be interested in local dues, you know? Very difficult, really. Because, I mean, how many people do I know in Pobathic now? 1, 2, perhaps 3 or 4 families. I don't know anyone else. But years ago, you knew everybody. We were all friendly, and it was a different sort of life.
And I can remember some of the last sailing barges coming down here. They used to bring timber down and animal feed and stuff like that, which went down to Pobathic. Well, I spent most of my childhood down at St Germans Quay. We used to call ourselves the Quay Boys.
Yes, I do remember the barges often. I didn't know that there was imports, but certainly exports of roadstone. They never went past, in my day, they never went up to Tidderford, to the quay there. But I got photographs of barges sailing up there.
One time in St Germans Quay, there was boats used to bring stone up, and they used to put the stone in these 4 great containers, and Ernie was down there working for a long time, and then, as I told you, he came around with fruit and veg for years with a van. Yes, he was a real character, Ernie.
Ron's father, Ron Craddock's father, had a train line with a mobile steam crane on, and he used to dredge up the burst, you see, for the boats. And but then, of course, I mean, it's like you say, sailed it up bad now. I mean.
Used to have the steamers come up there.
And then, of course, the club spoiled that.
The club stopped that.
Well, they got the key, you see, and they banned them. All these pleasure boats, God blimey, you was getting hundreds of people here from Plymouth.
They'd walk down and see the church, or else go to the pub.
Yeah.
Well, we were at St Germans School, as I just said, and at that time, Lord and Lady St Germans were in the Elliot estate, and Lady St Germans used to take us to the pantomime every year in Plymouth. About 60 of us, she would pay for us to go to Plymouth to the pantomime and then take us to Goodbody's for tea. And that always stood out in my mind as being special for St Germans School. And apart from that, we used to, like Ascension Day and special days, we went to the church for a service. We all marched down to the church. But I got many happy memories of school because it was a nice school and good teachers as well.
Well, I don't know, the recreation field was in pretty good lick then. They used to have a chap with a motor mower, and you used to go up and cut it, you know. Well, I mean, just up over the bank where you get to it. Now, we didn't go over and then in the gate. I suppose the old gate's still there. But we used to get up over there, down there where the tree stumps, you know. There used to be a swing there. That was a real made thing, you know. Then there was 2 seesaws down beyond that. That's against the fence, you know, going down towards the surgery. Like. 3 or 4 more swings going up through on the trees. They had skittles there, but we had a family move in the village. They soon went for firewood, apparently. So, yeah, so that was the end of that. I think that was the start of it, when the family moved here. Because the shed they kept, Mary kept the mower in, I mean, that was damaged and whatnot. But, you know.
We used to play all over the village, but not in the garden. Kept out of the garden because my grandfather would walk around there. And it was rather like meeting a dinosaur. My grandfather, we were scarpered, so we didn't come in. We played down in front of the house, below the stables in a little stream there, and did incredibly dangerous things on the railway line. Daring each other to run across the viaduct, which was terrifying. And playing in the woods on ivy swings and tree houses and things like that. I didn't have much or any truck with the parents or the village people, apart from those who worked on the estate. And there was a lot more then.
You know, there was a dear lady called Namskiville, and then of course there's Daphne, which you always doing something and involved with people. When we lost the shop in the post office, I mean the village just changed completely, because you didn't see anyone or anything, did you? You know, that was one of the things we will remember, is when we lost the shop. But I mean, now with the community shop, and to think of people that still doing it, I mean, it is a marvellous thing. It's a very pleasant, you know, to be able to have the shop and the post office. Is a big thing in the village.
Well, down the quay there used to be Lewis Gord. He was a local carpenter. The Cradocks were agricultural engineers. There were several retired people down there. A bloke called Tommy Tucker, he used to go fishing out in the river with a flat-bottom fishing boat. Down at the railway station there were about 70 people got on the train there in the morning. I can just remember it because there were 1 or 2 televisions in the village.
Well, that's how the chapel got built, because of the Earl. There's quite little bit of history about the chapel, how it got built. Then the Earl gave them the ground to put the chapel there.
Gaming going on down the pub. This was after town, you see. Down goes the police. They couldn't look in. They was in the kitchen apparently. There used to be 4 or 5 on one of the walks from out.
Yeah.
St Martin's out Lou.
When I was still working.
And they couldn't. So nips up. They gets the ladder. Yeah. All right, they was going to have them, but nothing happened, see, because they were all off Freemasons.
The Brays family ran the butcher shop, and they had fields all the way up the back, that bag lane. There's now a house that used to be a barn, and that was their farm. They had a farm up there as well, and that was the barn. Now somebody's turned it into a dwelling house, haven't they? I don't know who lives there, I've no idea.
The road over the Tiddy was built when I was here, and that was a great upheaval, because prior to that, the main road down through Cornwall went over the two little bridges which we use today, but coming from the village, down Heskin Hill, round the corner, and then in front of you there's an earth bank. That was the main road, and the new road cut it in half, so it became a cul-de-sac. And if you look at it, it's tiny. And if you look just back a bit further, you had to go over Tidderford Bridge. That was the main road down. Amazing.
It was quite exciting because you see, I mean, in a little closed village, you don't see people, you know, not like that, all coming, all shapes, sizes, colours, and think, oh, hello. It was a glorious place at Port Eliot. I mean, they wouldn't have, for people to come from cities and come there, they must have thought they was in another world.
My name is Sophie and I like the tree festival.
I think the May Tree Fair is lovely and it makes the sun come out. The sun's come out 2 years in a row and it's been beautiful, blue sky, everybody's having fun, kids love it, it's great.
I wrote my bit in the nut tree a couple of years ago when they reinvented it and told them the history of the May Fair. I mean, I never heard of the May Tree Fair before, you know, but then it's fine. Oh, we used to have a cattle fair down the bottom.
I think it's fabulous. Absolutely wonderful. I think it's a great tradition and I'm really pleased that it's been reinstated. Yeah, wonderful.
There used to be an ironmonger called Salter here. That was his store in there, in the loft. And he kept all his ironmongery, saws, saws, axes. We're talking about the days before chainsaws and strimmers. And he used to hang them all on these rails. Baths, tin baths, and all that sort of thing. And down the bottom there, the men used to stand around and form a ring. On this side there was a milk stand. Poor they used to bring their milk churns out, and the milk lorry used to pick them up from there. And there'd be cattle up the various lanes. Men and boys would hold them back. It's a wonderful day for us boys because we had a day off school. I mean, it wasn't a bank holiday then, it wasn't Whitsun, it was a Wednesday, I think.
I don't know, when we were coming down from the village and everybody was playing and there was sort of kids dancing along the side of it, you know, spontaneously and that kind of side of it, of people who haven't been involved in the running of it but have kind of got swept up with everything.
That was a working May Fair. They used to hold horses up in Newport for sale, and out there in these little meadows, the publican had one or two of them. Different tradespeople had them because before the war, before motor cars, they all had horses and traps to deliver their produce with or collect. So they kept their horses in these. That's why these little meadows are there, principally. all the tradesmen, and there were a lot of tradesmen, blacksmiths, carpenters, all the lot. They had their meadows and their horses. The farmers would bring their cattle in and put them in some of the meadows. Then when their turn came, they'd drive them down and put through the ring. Then there'd be always a meadow empty. They put a number on the cattle or a scissor mark. There were one or two men that were very dab hand with a special pair of marking scissors. They put their peculiar mark. Ours was a T. So you know, one snip up that way and one snip across that way. That was our cut.
The May Tree Fair, what's great about it is it's almost like the beginning of summer, or is this year, because the spring's been so bad, in that it gets everybody together, and it's a wonderful sort of feeling of relaxation and everybody sort of processing and ending up around the pub and just hanging out together.
Brilliant.
My name's Lizzie Stroud and I live at the railway station in St Germans. We're incredibly lucky in St Germans. We've got a community shop, and I think the community shop is incredibly important, and I think it's made a huge difference to the village.
St Germans is a beautiful, beautiful village, beautiful old houses, lovely people, friendly people, and it's like coming home.
Not because it's where we live, but it's because it's a lot friendlier than in Halifax.
I like St Germans. It's a very friendly place, very good sense of community. I like living here.
I'm Richard Laugharne. I'm a resident of the village for 12 long years and wonderful years. I think I like St Germans because it's a bit like a big family. You sort of have to get on with your neighbours. You can't be anonymous, and if you have a row, you have to work it through because you can't avoid people. Now, whilst some people would see that as negative, I see that as very positive, because in the end, you end up actually getting on with people that initially you didn't like very much.
Hi, my name's Emma Lovelock. Oh, the community, it's great fun, lovely people, it's wonderful.
The great thing of something like the shop is it's created a new community. The volunteers become a community. And the more sort of small communities you have within the village, the more the village grows together. And in a way, I think the village is bound together by lots of small groups, whether it's the shop or the Thursday club, the church, the chapel, the railways group, the book club, all these, the Women's Institute, the Elliott Hall, the badminton, the bowls. They all bring small groups together, and that makes, in the end, everyone knows someone who knows someone else. And I think that's a very powerful thing, and it's something you, having lived in cities most of my life, it's very hard to get that.
No, it's really great, the festival. I think when I'm in the hereafter it'll continue. I hope so. I expect Lady St Germans will. She runs it, actually. And I'm just the sort of caretaker with the brown coat and the broom who tidies up when everybody's gone. That's my role. Trouble is that my heir is only 6, so there need to be some sort of regency. So I expect the place will fall into the hands of solicitors and agents and be ruined within 25 years.
The great thing about a village, as I say, is because you have to get on with people, even if you don't naturally get on with them that well, or you don't have much in common. Somehow you are thrown together, and it's a like family. You overcome your differences, and hopefully someone is always looking out for everybody. Hopefully people don't get lost, and that's what I hope anyway. Maybe that's my vision for the village, that nobody gets lost.
Ever since I was a little girl, some of my best memories of St Germans are with my grandparents.
I was just waiting for that.
It's making me cry.
Before she was born, my mother used to come here.
So my best memories coming down and spending time in St Germans with my grandparents at Barn House, and the village it's not even a second home, it's a first home. So it's very dear.
I've been king of the castle here for 60 years. It's been mine.
You know, when we were children, we used to have all sorts of myths. There was a myth about if you went out on Christmas Eve and looked, there was a headless horseman that used to ride down to the church, and if you saw it, you died. And so there was always this sort of, there were quite a few things like that. So I'm never quite sure how much of what was fed to me was true and what isn't true. But anyway, there was certainly a myth about a hermit living in Cragswood who bricked up the place from the inside.
I really like St Germans. It's a really nice place to be in. It's really quiet, which I like. I think it's just like what a village should be, because it's all quiet and calm and it's not too loud and noisy. I don't think much will change apart from maybe a few houses being built, and maybe the school getting a bit bigger.
I like St Germans as it is, because I like that it's quiet and there's not like loads of cars on the road and everything. Well, it's just a nice village. It's got nice people that are friendly and it's quite peaceful, so you can enjoy it.
St Germans is a nice village with lots of flowers and fields and farmers' crops and lots of birds like magpies, like little like robins and stuff. My favourite thing about St Germans is Port Eliot, because it's always a beautiful place.
I like the people.